Hello and welcome to the Bel-E Scratch podcast. I'm your host, Bel-E.
And I am your co-host, Scratch.
And today is Christmas!
Hey, Christmas!
Post-Christmas!
Post-Christmas!
Happy post-Christmas, happy post-Hanukkah, post-Kwanzaa, post-Yule,
Post-Christmas stress disorder.
yeah, post-Santa's, I thought that.
Santa's exploitation.
Yeah, Santa-splation.
Santa-splation.
Yeah.
Does that work?
No, it doesn't, but you know what? We're all tired. Let's just face it.
Yeah.
We're just tired.
I'm not in it.
I'm not in it.
I mean, I was...
This completely out of pocket.
I was snoozing. And the matriarch showed up and set the fire alarm off.
What?
No, we had to go somewhere and take care of something. We got to do it right now. I'm like, what? Really?
Why now? Why not tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I'm a little
dazed.
Well, actually, I share an attribute of a 2x4 or 4x4. Just a really.
You're splintery.
Just a really numb post.
I thought you were playing.
I like some of these Instagram and Facebook influencers, 4x4s, just a dead post.
Shit.
I didn't plan it that way.
No, it's fine. I didn't either, honestly.
No, but Christmas was good this year.
Christmas was stressful this year. What the fuck are you talking about?
It was a little stressful.
Okay, on my end. How about that?
Well,
on everybody's end, but I'm like, man, what
they
even?
Tried to come out and say that there's another super bug waiting in the wings to take people down.
The Omicron or whatever the hell.
Omicronic.
Omicronic.
Yeah.
You mean the same?
No, that's what I am. They're Omicron. I'm Omicronic.
Dr. Omicronic. No, I don't want to get into it, but I'm just like, all right, I've had to take people to the ER. I've had to go around and get my shit in order.
Oh, yeah, you've had a full week.
My lady thing started, so I am tired, angry, and in pain.
Moon goddess.
Yeah, thankfully I had something to take care of it. Look, unfortunately, I didn't remember it yesterday.
That's all right.
It's fine. I remembered it today. So I am just. Oh yeah, yeah. That was yesterday.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be one of those days when you wake up Christmas.
Tidings of comfort and joy.
Yeah.
You weren't too bad.
In the morning, I felt I was bad.
Well, yeah. I think that was before you had eaten.
Well, and
so it was kind of a double whammy.
Sure.
Because you definitely get hangry.
Oh, I know I do.
You've always gotten hangry.
Yeah. It's good to be aware of these things.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, my deal yesterday was just woke up, hungry, hangry, and I feel like I'm being stabbed. So that's not really a good combination.
No.
And it's all on Christmas Day when I had to be all smiles and laughing with the family.
We went and visited family.
When I really, all I want to do is crawl into a deep, dark hole and stay there for about a week.
Don't talk to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you dare approach my...
Well...
If you dare approach my cavern, my lair...
The Grinch's lair.
Yeah. If you dare approach my lair, you better have some damn chocolate with you.
Well, the thing about it is, unfortunately, I don't mean to be glib about it, but the only way I can deal with it is through humor.
That's cool.
You know, the relatives are all getting older.
Yes.
So when you get an opportunity to see people, probably a good idea
to see people.
No,
I don't regret seeing people.
No, I know.
I was just going back and forth of, I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to be functional, you know?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, on the one hand, I can just be a bitch all day, which that's not gonna fly.
No. And a loud one at that.
And a loud one at that. That's not gonna fly. I immediately know that's not an option.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And number two, I could get extremely I could get extremely invigorated, so to speak, on pain medicine, which I did eventually end up doing, but not enough to where it mattered later in the evening, but that's
it's
fine.
all, all over-the-counter stuff.
Yeah, it was my choice of either, okay, I could either take a shit ton of over-the-counter stuff, or I could possibly look into something that's not over-the-counter, and I don't have that I don't have the time for that,
Right.
so.
Right.
And someone's gonna know something's up either way, so, you know what? My doll it is.
But it was a good Christmas for me personally.
Good.
I won't have any. I enjoy Christmases where when it's over, I don't have debt hanging over me. For
Yeah,
the next
that's
6 to 12 months.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
I'm
totally
like that
fair.
with vacations too, man.
Yes.
I don't like doing stuff like that on credit.
No, I don't either.
Doesn't make anybody enjoy the season any better. I like that. I like that. What's that scene in Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas where the
Which part?
dad who maxes out his credit card and everybody celebrates early on in the film. You just maxed out another credit card, and everybody's like, "Yay!" And
that might have been like a deleted scene from the theatrical version. And here's the thing: nowadays they show they mostly show the uncut version, especially around Christmas, of the Grinch That Stole Christmas.
Yeah.
I like the uncut, like the quote-unquote director's cut version better.
Yeah.
Because, here's the thing, the theatrical version, obviously, there are little jabs here and there about, the harsher negative sides of Christmas, how people tend to treat it as more like, buy, capitalism.
Oh, it's definitely
that whole monologue Jim Carrey has it right in the middle of the film.
Definitely entrenched in materialism and consumerism.
Yeah, that whole monologue he has while they're trying to make him the cheermeister. The avarice. The avarice never ends. That entire monologue is basically the first half of the movie.
Pretty much.
And in the director's cut version, you see it a lot more. Like the credit card scene you mentioned, which I don't remember because I don't remember watching that scene. Wasn't in the theatrical version. I've seen that more as a kid. Yada yada yada.
Sure.
But that's why I like the director's cut, is because it leads more into that.
It gives a little more context.
Yes.
And a lot of films are like that.
Oh yeah. Kind of like, and I've yet to watch it, and I swear to God, I will watch it, like the director's cut of The Professional.
Right.
Which I've yet to watch. Don't at me, people.
Don't add me.
Yeah. It gives more context.
It does. Well, I mean,
And plus, a good movie, or let me phrase that, a very well-edited movie, you can have both the theatrical cut and the director's cut coexisting.
Right.
That's called a really good editing job.
You literally can turn it into two different movies.
You can turn it into two different movies.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience when I watched the director's cut version of a movie called Jennifer's Body.
Really?
That is
the director's cut?
There is a director's cut.
I thought what I saw was pretty...
No.
Yeah.
No, it's actually a good movie.
Well, I don't doubt that. I found it interesting enough to watch.
Honestly, the problem with Jennifer's Body is this was right around the time of Megan Fox is on Transformers. She's the hot chick, the current. She's the current
hottie du jour.
Yeah, she's the current hot chick of the 15 minutes that we're living in right now, or whatever the hell Andy Warhol said. And, and I don't think she's a terrible person. I've never met her. I couldn't stand to look at her because, once again...
Does she love puppies?
I don't fucking know.
Who knows?
Yeah, once again, it's kind of the same deal with the guy that played Sheldon on Big Bang Theory. I don't want to see your face ever again.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't think you're a bad person. You may be. You might not be. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Be the second coming of the son of Satan. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I don't want to look at your face anymore. If I have to
look at you enough times, there's a clicker in my head. I don't know what the number is, but I know when
you've gone over 100.
I know when that number's been hit, and it's like, we're crying out loud. We have to turn on the fucking TV one more time.
Yeah, I almost got there with Ralph Fiennes, because there was like about 2-ish years ago, he was like in every fucking everything. Movie.
Yeah. He's back.
No, he's back. No, I respect him.
They can't not cast him.
They can't not cast him. He's a wonderful actor, even though I hate the English patient. I thought he did better in Red Dragon. The Grand Budapest Hotel is a masterpiece.
Is an absolute masterpiece.
Like, even if you don't like Wes Anderson, and I don't like Wes Anderson, I liked the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes.
Like, I'm not a fan.
The cinematography,
that has got to be his magnum opus. I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. I've seen enough Wes Anderson movies to know, okay, it's in his style, but I don't hate it.
And how often do you get Willem Dafoe as a hitman?
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Okay,
that's a good point.
He's the Green Goblin in Spider-Man.
And he's back.
And
apparently, No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home. People will not shut the fuck up about it. I'm going to have to go see it now. My cousins, my clients keep talking about it. Now I have to go watch it. I was like, okay.
All right.
I didn't watch second one, but I didn't watch second one because Bruce Campbell was robbed.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell was
I'm not joking, by the way.
What are you going to do about Bruce Campbell?
I'm not joking. I don't know if I said... I think I said it on podcast, but I'll reiterate it. The Sam Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Again, I might have said it. I don't remember. It's been a long...
That was the one with Tobey Maguire?
Yes, the Tobey Maguire trilogy.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire trilogy. Okay, you know how in all those movies, Bruce Campbell just shows up?
Right.
He's just there.
Because he's just Evan Bruce Campbell.
He's Evan Bruce Campbell, and he's friends with Sam and Ted Raimi.
And why not?
Why not? Hey, look, if my best friend, if I was directing a movie, or if I was heavily involved in a movie or any kind of anything,
yeah, and I had access to Bruce Campbell,
yeah, I would, yeah,
absolutely,
because they're all best friends because they did Evil Dead with each other. They all went to film school together. Sam Raimi, his brother Ted, Bruce, all went to the same schools, grew up in the same town. And if my best friend, and if I was somebody's best friend director, guess what? I'm getting a cameo.
I mean, Bruce Campbell is an awesome actor, but he just cannot. He can't outshine himself.
Exactly. He can't not be awesome.
He can't not be awesome. He has to tone it down, and he's still awesome. Yeah. Everybody's like,
"Oh my god,
fucking Bruce Campbell."
Yeah, this is why my favorite cameo he did in the Spider-Man trilogy was the first one when he was the ring announcer. Because that's perfect.
That was perfect. Oh my god, when I saw him, and the movie was so good to grow up. In the 70s reading Spider-Man.
Bonesaw! Who was Macho Man Randy Savage?
It's just a phenomenal film. To grow up, to be a big Spider-Man fan.
And then you see the movie.
And then to see the movie, to grow up with those comics. I mean, I was in middle school,
Yeah. And then you see.
And then I see the movie.
And then you see Bruce Campbell announcing.
Campbell. It's just phenomenal.
Bruce Campbell announcing Spider-Man.
It's like, I can't believe it.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, this is just too cool.
It's beautiful.
I can't deal with it.
Yeah. However, however, before the major studio interference, the third Sam Raimi movie was obviously just kind of a train wreck because the movie studio basically tried to force something that wasn't meant to happen, go figure. They said, we want Venom in the Spider-Man movie because he's one of the more famous, Spider-Man villains.
Right.
Right. They did the Green Goblin, he's pretty... Doc Ock, that's up there. And then there's Venom.
Yeah.
If the studio... I can't remember if it was going to be the third one or if they was going to like plan a fourth one. This was obviously before the huge franchising thing that Marvel and Disney are fucking doing right now, obviously. You know, you kind of do 3 and maybe a spin-off, but back then it was just like, let's just do 3. This was before, you know, this was kind of in between film serials where you just like 5 to 7 movies back to back like you did like the early 1900s and whatnot.
Yeah.
So what they were going to do, like I said, I think it was going to be the third movie. If the studio had not forced Venom down Sam Raimi's throat for the third movie, you know who would have been the villain?
Who?
In the third Sam Raimi Spider-Man film?
Who?
Bruce Campbell.
As?
Mysterio.
I want to see Bruce Campbell as Craven.
He'd make a good Craven.
He'd make a great Craven. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I know.
He's got the hair.
He's got the chin.
He's got the chin.
Uh-huh. He just bulk up a little bit, and he's perfect.
Perfect for it. Absolutely.
No, apparently that was the plan. They were going to make Bruce Campbell be Mysterio, which, in my opinion, again, he would have made a better Craven. But, you know he would have worked with it.
He would have.
He would have took it and ran.
Because it's Bruce Campbell.
Because it's Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell is one of those rare actors that can make shitty dialogue work.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because people will do like this. I didn't really care for the movie. The script was shitty, and the setups were pretty bad. But Bruce Campbell was effing awesome.
Yeah!
So, yeah.
No, I get it.
That's how that goes.
Yeah. So, that was their plan, and then, of course, studio was like, no, Venom! Which, honestly, I would have wanted.
Well, Venom's a more modern villain.
And, honestly, if they had, you know what? I would have taken Bruce Campbell as Venom.
Venom didn't.
Like he's secretly like he was secretly Eddie Brock the whole time, but we didn't know. It is a bit of a cop out, but you know what? I would have accepted it.
You would have accepted it, but the whole time you would have been thinking, you know what? Bruce Campbell's too cool to put up with this bullshit.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell's too cool to be a cop out. You know, because what would have happened is in the first movie, he's the ring announcer, he's all cool, and I don't know much about Eddie Brock's backstory other than he was also possibly a loser like Peter Parker initially was. Something like that. I don't know. And in the second movie, he is now working at a theater, which is kind of where they were trying to set up the Mysterio angle because he was working at the theater.
Right.
Where Mary Jane was doing her shit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That's where they were going to set it up. You know, him being Mysterio. But that's what I would have done, you know, because think about it. We got Topher Grace, who he's just better as Eric Foreman. I'm just going to tell you that right now. He peaked as Eric Foreman.
He does have this ability to be a little bit of a sleazeball. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah. So, but yeah, Topher Grace as Eddie Brock.
Yeah. Which
was acceptable. Wish it was more fleshed out, but you know how it is. And then you could have had Bruce Campbell as Eddie Brock. And I'm like,
well,
why?
Eddie Brock's dad.
Eddie Brock's dad? My son's dead. Now I am dead.
They had to have somebody a little bit, you know, closer to Spider-Man.
I don't care. They set this man up the whole movie. He was supposed to be Mysterio, but the studio wanted Venom. So you know what? Make him Venom. You already have him on speed dial. Couldn't have been any worse than what we got, you know.
I'd like to see him as the dark bad guy.
What do you mean, dark bad guy? Like the brooding, you know. Yeah,
like
the brooding, malignant bad guy. Like introspection. That's not really Bruce Campbell. Well, I'm not saying he couldn't do it.
No, he could do it.
The closest I ever saw him get, like, introspective and thinking was probably like Briscoe County, but that was still over the top.
Has he ever had a role where he was the bad guy? I mean, the bad guy.
Bad guy?
Where people... where he had no redeeming value.
Oh, a shitheel. Let me see. I'm good. I'm looking this up on
whatever
IMDb.
he chooses or whatever he's in, he really doesn't want to be the bad. He doesn't want to. He wants to be at least a part of the good guy, instead of like in Sky High.
Yeah.
He was kind of an asshole.
Well, he was an asshole, but he wasn't the main villain.
Yeah, but he wasn't a villain. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. He can be an asshole, but the thing, that's actually a good point.
No, sure he can.
I don't think I've ever really seen him. Let's go back to the beginning. I don't think I've ever truly seen him as, okay, that's too far back.
Yeah.
Okay, where is, no, not the short, he was like at the tail end of Darkman, but he was as Darkman, Maniac Cop. Ooh, I have to watch the first one. Ash, Briscoe County Jr., Congo. He gets killed like in the first 10 minutes, so this is more of a cameo.
Right.
And plus that movie is shit anyway. Cameo, the surgeon.
Yeah,
the Surgeon General.
Escape from L.A.
Yeah, he was like the best part of that movie.
He really was.
Him and Kurt Russell were the only things about that movie that worked.
True.
There you go.
Very good.
Was he the main villain? No.
Maniacal. Yeah, but
deranged.
Sure.
But that's probably the closest I've personally seen.
Botox on the brain.
Indeed. Let's see. Everything else.
Being angry and happy gives you the same facial expressions. Maybe you should start from scratch, people.
Yeah, I don't know. So. Anyway, so Bruce Campbell. Yeah, he's awesome. Like I said, that was their plan.
I wish he did more stuff.
Well, I'm afraid that no, he's done a lot of stuff.
Oh, he's done a ton of stuff.
I want him to do more stuff that's like, I don't want to say mainstream, but basically reach a broader audience. I think the closest was probably like Army of Darkness and Ash vs. Evil Dead.
He's so typecast.
I know.
I mean, Cabin in the Woods.
He wasn't in Cabin in the Woods.
Not Cabin in the Woods. Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, Army of Darkness. He was in what the hell is that Hercules spinoff? It's the warrior lady. She's not China.
Xena?
Xena, yeah.
Oh, he was in Xena?
Yes!
Oh,
he was like the sleazeball, merchant,
I remember watching some of that.
Dude. Yeah. I didn't watch a whole lot of, Xena. Although she was one of the main cast members.
Oh, and I thought the show was great. I'm just, that type of, that genre I'm not into too deeply.
No.
I mean, I can watch it and enjoy it.
Personally,
it's not my first choice.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, he was like a sleazeball, roguish type.
Okay.
Which that's kind of in his wheelhouse regardless.
Definitely in his wheelhouse.
But, no, I appreciated Xena, Warrior Princess, or whatever the hell her official title is, because it's one of the few, mediums... It's one of the few pieces of media where you see a woman basically pick up a fucking broadsword and kill people.
Oh, yeah.
Or, I don't know if she used a broadsword, but she definitely decapitated some motherfuckers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Actually, if you would have cast that role as a male, it never would have worked.
Because it would have been a dime a dozen, like Conan the Barbarian ripoff, which I think...
Technically, it is.
I think Xena takes place... I can't remember if Xena takes place in the same universe as, like, the Hercules TV show.
Yeah, I don't know
or if it's the Conan universe.
Yeah, well, either way.
The
setting is very similar.
Yeah.
Time.
No, I understand that, yeah.
This ancient, or not really, like, pre-Noah ancient,
no, it's not pre-Noah. It is, like... Not even really, it's like fantasy Middle Ages.
Yeah, fantasy Middle Ages, that'd work.
Yeah, because it's not quite Middle Ages, and it's somewhere like between Dark Ages, Middle Ages, and Renaissance.
Yeah, because there's this magic in there.
Yeah, there's magic.
It's like what we would call, or what history calls the Dark Age.
Yeah, which
really is nothing.
Not really.
Not really.
It basically is just the time after the Roman Empire fell.
Yeah, that's all it is.
When people kind of retreated back into their little hovels and their family units and just kind of stopped being a part of an empire and had to refigure out how to operate without a superpower watching over them.
And I don't remember much about the show, but I'm sure there was some overlording empire that was trying to enslave everybody.
No shit.
There had to be.
Yeah, there had to be.
I mean, you just can't have that type of show in that genre without.
Oh yeah.
This type of
that's basically all the Dark Ages was.
Place, yeah.
Just the falling of the Roman Empire. People had to go back to basics. A lot of people died, and all the recorded history was written by the monasteries and people of the cloth who knew how to read and write.
Well, there is that.
There is that.
Yeah, no, it's really weird people make such a big deal out of that type
yeah.
of thing. It's like you don't understand where the source comes from. It isn't that, ooh, they banned all these other. There weren't any other stuff.
There wasn't any.
Any other stuff.
Not really.
You say, oh, they banned it. Well, what I'm telling you is they didn't even have knowledge of its existence.
Yeah, here's
so they could even bring it up for consideration.
Well, here's the thing. Well, outside of Italy, outside of Italy and a couple of other portions and other captured plots of land and other captured nations, there was not a lot of education going around. I don't think.
Well, I mean,
there's a certain level of it, of course. Yeah, Greece, obviously.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I just mean in the Roman Empire, there was certain levels of education. You had to keep the cogs of the machine turning. Merchants, fishermen, and soldiers, etc. But on the mass scale, unless you were training for a trade or to be a scribe,
right?
There wasn't really such a thing as public education.
No.
So, even after when Rome fell, there was still a huge swath of people that didn't know how to read or write.
Well,
unless it was their own language. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, education didn't exist for the masses.
Yeah, for the masses. So, when people say, there was, no advancement, well, no one was being educated on how to possibly advance. Like I said, most of the record keeping and recorded it was happening at the monasteries and where other temples and
all Roman science was military related anyway.
Yeah, that seems pretty likely. So it was just a period of history where the infrastructure just completely fell through the floor and no one had the ability to recuperate 100%, or at least across the board 100%.
Majority of people, nothing in their life changed.
Yeah, nothing in their life changed. They stopped seeing Roman centurions hanging around the village, and that was it.
That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, so somewhere out in the Germanic lands, people are going, hey, what happened to Biggest Dickus?
Big.
Shamefully stolen from Monty Python.
Monty Python.
Yeah, that must have, somewhere along the fall of Rome, that must have happened. They just go, hey, where's this guy, who was like the captain of the local, Roman police or whatever the hell they were officially called. Because they all got called back.
That's why
or dead.
They run you out of town.
And they run you out of town if you stayed. It's like, Rome is not a place anymore. Get the fuck out of my village.
Right.
Etc., etc.
They were able to push the Roman troops out.
Yeah, because who the fuck was going to back them up?
Exactly. They didn't have any backup to send.
Kind of what happened.
Basically what they did is they went around and capturing territory, and then they drafted, conscripted the local population,
Shanghai
the local population into their army, And then when it reached its pinnacle,
they go and capture another piece of land because eventually they ran out of food.
These non-Roman soldiers basically turned on the Roman Empire and brought it down.
Yeah, and that's and that also leads into why Rome kept just taking shit over. Part of it was just, they started running out of the ability to feed the masses and the army, so they would go take over a neighboring plot of land that had food and resources because Rome was running out of resources, and when that was depleted, they just keep repeating the cycle. Kind of like locusts. Yeah. At some point, empires just go from this... It's kind of weird. I don't know. There has to be a name to this phenomena.
This far-reaching imperialism?
Imperialism. But what I mean is, like, an empire will grow to such heights that it is basically the place to be, hypothetically speaking. Yeah. Well, actually speaking, this has happened multiple times before on this planet. But empires will grow to these heights of luxury, these heights of, like, these pinnacles of human civilization, and then at some point they just devolve from, again, being this height of human achievement to essentially being locust. Yeah. Where they can't sustain the structure that they've designed for themselves for one reason or another.
In my opinion, from my observation, that is the modern 21st century urban experience.
Oh, I know that.
These places have priced themselves out of the market.
So they have to
driven out people who are the ones that generate the tax revenue. Uh-huh. And so all now they're left with is consumers. They've got a bag full of consumers. They run off the producers because they price the producers out of their home. They ran the producers out,
and now basically just you're left with a shell. Yeah, kind of like what happened to Detroit. Yeah, Detroit is probably like the shining example of
definitely the shining example. One time Detroit was the greatest city on the planet. Yeah, industrial age-wise.
Definitely in America.
What was greater than Detroit at one time?
Yeah. Detroit is definitely, and I don't want to go into the details because that's getting into political speak, which I don't care for in general. But Detroit is definitely an example of, you done fucked up.
Chicago is there.
Yeah. Chicago's trying so hard.
Actually, Chicago's been there for a long time, but it just doesn't get the negative press.
I know. New York's on its way.
If the number of people getting killed in Chicago were getting killed in Montgomery, Alabama, every household in this nation would know about it every single solitary day.
But we don't talk about it because Chicago. It's an everyday occurrence.
New York's heading that way.
LA's been there.
LA's been there.
Fuck LA.
And unfortunately, San Francisco.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
We spent a lot of time in San Francisco.
I spent a good portion of my childhood over there.
It's a beautiful place, but now it's
a hellhole.
It's a hellhole,
yeah. Yeah. Houston's that way as well. If my warehouse experience has proven anything to me.
Probably.
The last I heard from my job, it was about a couple months ago. They were basically, I don't know why the fuck this keeps happening. Every single job I've ever been to it always happens. Right. Where the people on the ground, or in the brick and mortar store, or the people who are directly involved in the money making process. Right. Like at the retail locations I've been to. Right. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe this is probably a good portion of why I have attempted to stay out of a lot of like business degrees or business classes, because I know what's going to happen. Basically, people on the ground will encounter a problem, and being people on the ground, right? They encounter the problem because they're the first line of defense, and they will try to tell their higher ups, "Hey, there's this problem right here, this very glaring oversight or this very obvious situation that's heading our way." Right. can we do anything to fix it? And the higher-ups will say something like, oh, you're crazy.
Off with your head.
Off with your head. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, etc., etc.
Well, that's
and
because...
then the problem raises its head, or the situation comes, and the business in mind is completely caught off guard and go, how the hell could we have prevented this?
What I can't figure out is maybe it's just me.
Uh-huh.
The whole part of being an arch bastard that makes me really question good news. And it doesn't mean that I can't accept good news, but there's a whole lot of problems with business because the leadership pays people to tell them what they want to hear. Uh-huh. And people, they say things they don't want to hear, they don't pay any attention to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Either that person gets, at best, the person that delivers bad news gets ignored. Or at worst, that person gets fired, which is the modern day equivalent of shooting the messenger.
Well, it's like the old dynamic of the king and the court. Actually the most trusted advisor in the king's court usually was the fool. Because the fool was the only person that had permission to tell the king exactly what they were thinking. Although this could lead to death.
But that's why they had all the pretty colors.
But, you need somebody around to tell you the truth.
You have to have a no man as well as a yes man.
You do. You absolutely do. You need someone to tell you, no, that's not a good idea.
So, basically, what I mean by this story is for about 2.5 years since I, working there-ish, for about a year and a half, the tail end of it, like the year and a half end of it, me and my building facilities were the people on the ground, and we kept telling the people above us, you have got to fire everybody in Houston, Texas, all of our techs. You have got to get rid of them all. Because the techs out in Houston basically started treating Houston as like a giant sinkhole, a money pit. At the company I used to work for, the warehouse company I used to work for, Houston, Texas was our money pit.
All right.
We would just pump it full of parts and supplies, whatever they needed, because it's a big market. Houston is huge.
Yeah.
And would hardly receive any return on it. And we kept telling them, you just gotta just get rid of everybody. Because we've begged, we've asked, we've pleaded, we've threatened the higher-ups in Houston to do their job, and they won't do it. And that entire year and a half, it was just, we can't just fire everybody, we can't do this, we can't do that. Let's try this alternate solution. No, we've done the alternate solution. No, we've done that too.
Yeah, we're going to try that.
And it's about a couple months, several months, thank God, that I've exited that job. And about sometime in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're scrubbing that whole city.
Really?
Almost 2 years after we started telling them to just scrub the whole city, just can everybody and start from the ground up. Now they're doing it.
Wow.
And I can't imagine how many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars it would have saved them if they had just done it in the first place. Within the first 6 months of us telling them.
Right.
And I can't help but sit back and laugh.
I don't know why people in leadership don't listen to folks on the front line.
That's always been my point. That's kind of why, here's the thing, I'm not uninterested in any sort of like business venture or being a CEO or CFO or, having business degrees or studying this. I don't have any,
Yeah.
I don't have anything against it. I think it's a very profitable time thing. Can be.
Sure.
It helps understand it better. But for some reason, they don't train suits to do that.
Mm.
It's almost like they're set up to fail.
Well, it's kind of like one of the biggest examples in corporate North America is we were just talking about Detroit.
Yeah.
Is GMC, General Motors Corporation.
Yeah.
And the reason that they haven't taken over the planet is because they keep having these waves of ineffective management, where they're so big and so successful. All you really have to do is show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Showing up's not good enough, guys.
Not on that level.
Not on that level. It's
not.
not.
You know.
Yeah, when
you're
people
flipping burgers somewhere, showing up is the key to success. But
I don't get the mentality of it's now. Granted, again, this is going into a completely different branch of conversation. That whole mentality of too big to fail, where they enter into that mindset of just show up and that's it. No, if you are quote unquote too big to fail, that is the exact opposite time as when you just need to show up mentality.
Well, a lot of what's
show its head
involved in too big to fail is there's all these people on top that aren't going to lose their job regardless.
That's fair.
So it's it's like the difference between Congress and the Senate versus the president. Mm-hmm. The president can only be in office 4 years minimum, 8 years max.
Yeah.
Where politicians in the House or the Senate or whatever can be there for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
So
example, our current president.
They aren't necessarily interested in success. They're more interested in their own personal longevity. Yeah. And that's unfortunate, but it's what it's turned into.
I think, honestly, if I was to say, go back in time and tell Thomas Jefferson and all the other people that wrote the Constitution and Bill of Rights and etc.
Yeah.
I definitely would have put, term limits on people in the House and the Senate. Like, I get why the president has term limits.
Well, they didn't put term limits on anything until after World War II.
Yeah, true. But I would have done it too. I still would have done it. Look, I get why the Supreme Court doesn't have term limits, like it's a lifetime commitment or until you decide to retire. It's basically a way of holding other people responsible.
It'd be a mess.
Yeah, I get it.
If they were elected.
Yeah, I get it. I get that. I don't like it sometimes because sometimes that will still breed corruption. The fact that they're always there, they can't be removed.
True.
That will present problems. But on the other side, it will also still present problems.
Well, people involved in law, at least their education comes from a particular perspective.
Indeed.
They're not just some U-mock off the street.
They're not just some rich dipshit from the street.
Or some poor dipshit off the street that
Sure.
finds their way into people's popular opinion and gets elected to office.
Indeed.
And does not get questioned after that, which
is
really unfortunate.
Sure. But my biggest issue, and this might be just a just being young thing. This just might be a young thing.
Yeah.
For example, legalized marijuana. Just that's just the most popular example.
Okay.
We have, obviously the popular vote is go ahead and legalize it.
Sure.
Because I think most people nowadays, especially my generation, younger,
right,
are, in this mode of, rebellion and, fuck big pharma and et cetera, et cetera. Just go ahead and get it out of the way.
Which is interesting because the only really reason that it's legal is to provide more tax revenue to the state that legalized it.
Exactly.
It doesn't have anything to do with anything else.
Oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. Obviously, unfortunately, politics has basically become a huge, giant game of the choose the lesser evil.
Yes.
And even then, you don't really have much of a choice to begin with.
Not really.
But my biggest thing is, you have people in the government who were born and or raised around the time of the Great Depression, back when reefer madness was the popular term, making decisions on this.
Well, I mean, when you have an entire, Well, in World War II, there was an entire industry dedicated to the propaganda
of
hemp good.
Oh, I know.
And then after that, it was an entire industry of propaganda dedicated to hemp bad.
Uh-huh.
So,
I get it.
The same type of a dynamic exists today.
Oh, I get it.
People are having that's what drives me crazy.
How so?
Because I know people, they're having their mind shaped by a narrative, whether they agree, whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. It's definitely calculated. If you can't see that it's calculated, then there's no hope for you.
Yeah, exactly.
It isn't a matter of, oh, hey, I believe this or I don't believe that.
It's a matter
of can't you tell? I mean, the pieces fit together way too easy.
Yes.
I
mean, it's
it's like reading the last chapter of a book.
Yeah.
Before you read anything else. It just doesn't exist that way.
Exactly. Well, and even then, that whole mode of propaganda where information like that will flip on a dime.
Yeah.
That's already kind of been predicted. I hate to be that. I hate to be that person that brings up 1984 whenever politics pops up.
How can you not be?
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. It's like, you're just saying 1984 stuff just because it's cool. Well, yeah, and it's relevant,
and it applies.
John.
Yeah, and it applies.
And it applies. There was a scene.
Do as I say, not as I do. That's 1984 right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rules for thee is not rules for me. Right. That whole thing, too. Right. Which I see a lot, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I'm sick of it, too.
Yeah, if there is definitely one thing that makes me want to cut ears off of these rich and or celebrity people, it's that whole thing of, the lesser masses have to do A, B, and C, but me, as someone who is important and having a cult following, does not. Enlightened, etc. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, there is a scene in 1984. I do not remember where this happened in the book, and I can't remember exactly what the situation is. It's been a couple of years. I think it was some kind of parade where they're like parading prisoners about to go be executed or something like that. There's like this big.
First battle was won.
The Hate Week.
Yeah.
The celebration in the book was like the week of hate, because normally they have like the 2 minutes of hate where they throw shit at like Joseph Goldstein or whatever the hell that guy's name is.
Okay.
Basically just the general enemy of the state and the enemy of Big Brother, whatever. Anyway, context. So they're getting ready for basically they're in the middle of this big celebration, the week of hate, where they're burning the books of the perverse underground, looking to undermine the English socialist fascist status quo, etc., buzzwords. And in the book, 1984, there are 3 primary superpowers. There's Eurasia, Europa, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And Oceania, which is basically where.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I don't know, nor do I care. But basically, how these 3 states. Spoiler alert, these 3 states, their head of states in all 3 territories are in cahoots with each other.
Sure they are.
Running the exact same ideologies, tweaked a little bit because of the culture, but it's basically the same thing across the board.
Right.
Tweaked slightly for each territory. And they're
for each population.
Yeah. And they're propping each other up by saying, oh, hey, if you and I are at war with each other, we each have a common enemy. And the third person can be one of our allies, or each of us individual will say the third person is our ally. And then at some point, we'll just kind of flip-flop and say, and this actually happened in the scene, we're actually fighting a war with the other people, and you're actually our allies. And they just keep going in this huge game of tag. Tag, you're it. You're the one we're all at war with. Tag, right. You're it. You're the one we're at war with. And they just keep having each other propped up like this.
Oh, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
In North America, for a long time, it was Iran. It's been Iraq. I remember distinctly 5 years ago being told by the occupant of the Oval Office and the media on his particular perspective, talking about how North Korea was like the next big global threat.
Seriously?
Like we were going to have a nuclear war. North Korea was.
I didn't buy that.
And then I didn't either. And then the next administration came in and kind of defanged that situation. So now
they went in and fucked that whole thing up.
They're trying to lay that. They're trying to lay it more on Russia. There's too many American companies, especially on the West Coast.
Yes.
They're involved in selling their product to China.
Or we can't outright say China.
And so it has given them a little bit of leeway to act any way they want to here in this country, because if they get boycotted here, they're not going to get boycotted over there.
They really
So
can't.
They're still paying their bills and they're still making money.
Sure.
Personally, I think it's going to come to a head and cause a problem, because ultimately you aren't a part of that country.
I know.
And they don't owe you any loyalty.
No, they don't.
You know?
Look, I can respect chasing the capitalist dollar, but at some point you got to start thinking about the long game. I don't mean the moral long game, because there is a certain inclination as a capitalist where you got to throw morals out the window to a certain extent.
Well, so does any system.
Indeed. Just, this is for the example. I'm not anti-capitalist. I'm just trying to look at it with a realistic eye, a realistic and discerning eye, as much as I can.
There's no loyalty in it.
There's no loyalty in it. As a rule,
no.
You chase where the money flows.
Chase where the money is, where the market is.
That's not inherently evil.
No, it isn't.
Like I personally believe that this whole narrative that has always been pushed since probably the dawn of money in general, possibly, or at least the dawn of organized societies and money in general, but I won't get into that. Basically, the whole thing of searching for wealth is greedy. It's a problem. It's a negative, or it's a sin, or X, Y, Z. It's seen as a negative, the chasing of money. Well, here's the thing. To an extent, that is true. It is very true. Greed applies. Greed applies, but greed can apply to everything.
Yeah.
But just trying to better your situation, trying to elevate yourself to where you have a better life.
You know, nobody ever called somebody searching in the ocean for a treasured shipwreck. Nobody ever called them greedy.
No one ever called them a sinner either.
No, and that's all they're doing.
Yeah, they're in search for treasure.
They're searching for profit.
They're searching for profit. They're seeking something better.
Right.
To me, money is not inherently sinful.
No.
Seeking money is not inherently sinful or negative.
No.
It's another resource to be managed, just like food, water, and shelter.
You know, kindling to start a fire.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a resource.
It's just a resource.
Yeah.
Where the problem comes in is to where I don't know what the Bible verse is, that whole thing of what should profit a man should he obtain the world but lose his soul.
Right.
Basically, and this doesn't just have to apply to money, it could be literally anything.
Anything.
When it costs you your humanity, your soul, in order to obtain it, if you lose yourself in the pursuit of blank, that's the problem.
That's if you have that, if you're wired according to that frame of reference. If you're not,
indeed,
heaven help those that get in your way.
Exactly.
You know, because you don't have any remorse about destroying
innocent
industry,
lives,
innocent, corrupting innocent lives. No.
Yeah. If in pursuit of whatever it is, like I said, it does not have to be money. It can be food. It can be shoes. It can be a person.
Person.
The soap opera I didn't want.
Yeah.
I saw that close up. The pursuit of a person.
Right.
If in pursuit of what you want, it could be anything, like I said.
Yeah.
If it costs you your soul or your humanity, if you lose your way, and if you are willing to step on innocent people who did nothing but just catch you on the wrong day, catch you on the wrong year, wrong place, wrong time type situation, that's where the problem lies.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, that's how I believe it personally.
Ooh. I mean, nobody faults you for trying to get what you want to get.
No. Work hard, but don't let it consume you. Don't let it cost you what got you there. It
costs you friends. It costs you your self-respect.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. Now, mind you, the rhetoric of if it costs you friends, family, etc., versus you outgrow friends, family, etc.
Right.
That's also a big difference as well.
You can outgrow those things.
Yeah, outgrowing them is different versus, hang on. It's one thing to pull weeds out of the ground.
Yeah.
Those don't serve you.
No.
They're not needed. You've outgrown them. They're just there. You don't need those anymore. Versus pulling practically healthy plants out.
Right.
You don't, that's just a waste. You're just getting rid of them for the sake of getting rid of them. You see?
Right.
You know, uprooting flowers and not putting them somewhere else, you know. This is a weird metaphor.
You're just trying to move things around, and you're causing more damage than
basically. Yeah. You cause more damage.
And there's no satisfaction in that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
You have to step on somebody else's neck to accomplish something.
That's
as a general rule of thumb.
That's
it doesn't satisfy you.
That's what I'm trying to get across.
It's kind of like I like the ending to the Penguins of Madagascar. Or the bad guy, the octopus.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, tomorrow we'll go after kittens and puppies.
We'll go after kittens and puppies.
Because we need more revenge.
We need more revenge, yeah.
And that's usually how it is. It doesn't satiate, it doesn't suffice.
Yeah.
It doesn't satisfy.
It's like eating air.
It's like eating air, yeah.
You're not full and you think eating more air will fix it.
No.
Because for some reason you haven't made the connection. But anyway.
But there are things that are on that level of your humanity that if you corrupt them or break them, I mean, it's a missing puzzle piece, and you never find the piece to fit.
Yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah,
you're incomplete for the rest of your days.
That's basically what I'm trying to get across. Don't cast away things that will make you incomplete for the rest of your days.
Right.
You know,
regardless of what the cost. I mean, regardless of what the goal is. Yes. What I'm saying is. You know, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, again, outgrowing people, situations, that's different versus taking that puzzle piece and throwing it away.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I mean, I'm kind of possibly in the middle of something like that myself. Not the whole casting the puzzle piece aside, because I think you would have figured out very quickly if something like that was about to take place.
I guess.
I don't know. I mean the outgrowing part, okay?
Right.
There is a friend of mine. He was my former boss at the warehouse. He's the guy you bet when I had that head-on collision last year.
Yeah.
He is not sure a good friend of mine. And he's a good person. I believe he's not wicked. He's not, malicious or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also the guy that I basically handed the cipher key to. Mm-hmm. And, didn't accept it really.
Right.
Like I mentioned a couple podcasts ago. Same guy. I'm not going to air out anybody's laundry, but I'm just going to give a basic details of what's kind of going on, how this relates. I'm trying to start at the beginning, and I keep thinking of other stuff that I have to add on top of it. Okay, let's do this. I am trying to outgrow my current circle of friends because I was in the middle of a game night. I showed up like an hour early to a game night. I thought it was at 5, because the past couple weeks it had been at 5.
Right.
And I show up at 5, but it's actually at 6, you know?
Okay.
I show up to their place, it's like 6. And I show up at 5, and I'm like, what? Okay. So I had to sit for an hour.
And just hang out?
And just hang out like some sort of asshole or something. I don't know. So that made me uncomfortable.
Sure.
Because I don't like doing that. You know?
Right.
I always try to text people like, hey, I'm here. Can I come inside your house? You know? Because I do not like showing up early, showing up when something got canceled like an hour before I was supposed to show up. But I didn't get the email or the text message because I was already on the road.
It's happened before.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
You know, I show up to somebody's house with, you know, food in hand, and they go, "Oh, we canceled this like an hour ago." And I would say to them, "Well, why didn't you cancel it yesterday when I was looking at my computer?" Anyway. So I'm already deeply uncomfortable because I showed up an hour before game night, which, again, I'm just not happy.
Sure.
And the lady that hosts game night, she's the wife of the guy I'm friends with.
Right.
It's not that I don't care for her. I just never had the inclination to be friends with her.
I understand.
Like, we play games with each other, you know, the whole board games, Cards Against Humanity, and we're pretty cool. Like, we'll talk to each other, but there's just something in the way. Something that just makes me go, I don't want to be your friend, you know?
Right.
Like, you're okay, but I don't want to be your friend. And the thing about parties is, sometimes people they gotta, like, put on a face in order to be in front of people.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Masking.
Mask,
yeah. And I guess she was a lot more comfortable, with me than I was with her.
Uh-huh. What'd she do?
She didn't have her mask on.
Oh.
Because I always try to arrive on time or try to be like, you know, I'm either on time or I'm a couple minutes late. Back, you know, when everybody's there, the energy's flowing, everyone's got their mask on, everyone's trying to be happy and gleeful because it's game night. We're all gathered together to have fun.
Right. Yeah,
she didn't have that particular face on. This face of happiness, this face of I'm in a crowd.
I see a lot of those happy masks, especially this season with all these group pictures that everybody's posting for
Facebook or whatever. Yeah.
In the holidays.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Whole lot of mask wearing going on.
Oh yeah, trying to be happy when you know you ain't happy.
Right.
And this woman was not happy. It was actually weird because I looked at her for a long time.
Yeah.
As her and one of her boyfriends, because I keep running into people who are either I keep running into people who are poly around this area. I don't know how I keep doing that.
Mm.
It's odd. But I'm looking at this woman, and I'm, like, looking at her. And you know what I mean by that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I don't do this often because I have to try to turn that part of my brain off.
Yes.
I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but there's just this ability of discernment that certain people have.
Yes.
Not just me, not just you. Many people.
Right.
Swaths of people. She was miserable.
And you got to see it. Before she put her mask on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I had suspected before that she wasn't really, like, happy, you know. My friend and her, they're, I think, trying to get separated after being married for about 3 to 4 years, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Her son, she has like, you know, her son is just very rambunctious, but he's a kid, you know? Just a lot of energy.
Is it his son or from hers?
Prior marriage, yeah.
Prior marriage.
So he's kind of split up between the two of them, and on the one hand, he's a kid, so he's got a lot of energy, but for some reason, he's not doing anything that gets that energy out. Like, he's not doing any sort of gymnastics or extracurriculars or martial arts or nothing.
Right.
He's just some kid that just
cause issues.
Exactly. Like, he doesn't have an outlet.
It's not a bad kid. He just needs an outlet.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
And, you know, and he's just kind of running around the house, you know, being a kid, being a boy.
Right.
That's about 6 or something. And I just look at her. This woman is about a year older than me.
Uh-huh.
And I look at her, and I just go, oh my God. I don't say this. I just think, you are miserable.
Yeah.
And for some reason, once everybody came to the table, once everybody came into the room as we all started playing together, I then looked around to my peers at this game night, and I go, everyone is miserable.
Miserable, yeah.
I don't mean sad. I don't mean depressed, because there's a difference.
There's a big difference.
I mean miserable.
You're trying to...
Because depression is clinical.
Yeah.
Like, that's an imbalance.
Well,
being sad is temporary. Being miserable...
There's a certain way. Oh. There's a certain way the world works.
Yes.
There's a certain way relationships work. You might think that you're special.
Indeed.
You might think you're unique.
Indeed.
And you might be special and unique, but
sure.
There are. You can't, and you'll see people do this. You'll have a relationship with another human being, and it doesn't. You will define it, and then they will buck you on it, and you're like, "Well, what's wrong with you?"
Exactly.
Well,
like, how dare you point out what is happening to me?
Right.
Yeah.
And all they're really doing is saying, you know what, I'm not really comfortable with this. There's nothing wrong with me.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to participate in this the way you think I should.
Sure.
And there's this crazy dominance that is pushing people. Nowadays, you know, it used to be live and let live, but now it's live like I live or die.
Yeah, exactly.
I've really never seen it to this level before.
I don't get it.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist that way in the circles that I was raised in.
Sure.
You know, we disagree. I think you're uninformed. I think you should educate yourself.
Yeah,
more.
there's a difference between.
But I don't think you should die.
Yeah, there's a difference between thinking someone is stupid.
Right.
Versus thinking someone is evil and they need to be destroyed.
Yeah, you know, you're Hitler.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And that's what it's gotten to.
I know. I don't know.
No, I know exactly what it is. There's just this lack of intelligence. People recently, they don't have the ability to.
There's no critical thinking.
There's no critical thinking. They don't have the ability to present how they feel about something in a way that might win somebody over to their way of thinking, and
sure.
they're not intelligent enough to. Take somebody else's argument apart, so they just call them a cretin and move on.
Yeah.
You know, which is extremely lowbrow.
Very, very good.
Yes, quite.
Not only that, but I do believe because the advent of the internet, people don't know what it feels like to talk shit to someone and get hit for it.
Well,
that has a lot to do with it too.
You know, some of us were spending time, you know, people like today, you know, most of these people are educated by Google. You know, some of us spend a lot of time in resource sections of libraries educating ourselves.
Uh-huh.
Okay. This whole documentation, these facts these people are finding. Some of us have been researching this for 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah, just because it's on Google doesn't mean you have to not think about it.
Yeah.
Or you still have to think about it, Barbara. Anyway. So that's kind of my whole situation because I just looked up and realized my friend circle are miserable miserable people.
Yeah.
And it's not that they weren't miserable before, but the beer flu has definitely highlighted it a lot.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it's forced a lot of people to face reality in a way that they didn't even know existed.
Exactly. No, I get that. No, I knew that was part of it. So now I'm just kind of slowly detangling myself from it, because I'm just like, look, I can't be in a place where I'm surrounded by not depressed, because again, depressed is clinical. A lot of times depression you can't help, you know.
True.
You know, it's like getting sick. Shit happens.
Shit happens.
Yeah. Sometimes you get depression, and it is terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible.
I have to say that because I don't have it. I hope to God I never have it, because I have seen it can destroy people. I don't mean to be glib about it, but it can destroy people.
It can.
But I just looked around and realized a lot of my friend circle has either become or has always been just miserable people trying to hide it. And I'm like, I can't be around you anymore.
Right. Right.
You know, I'm not saying, you know, I'm not trying to...
Well, and that and everything...
cut people off. I'm just like...
has its season.
Sure, of course.
And if you don't understand that, there's a lot of people that are making decisions on their life based on their situations that are in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't understand that everything has a season, it's like, you know, you have 15 friends that show up for the dinner that you cook, and then all of a sudden 2 years later there's only 5 people that show up. I mean, it's just the nature of life. It just happens that way.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean your life sucks. You know, yes, if you are the one that's pushing them out, or your cooking's not bringing them back, I mean, that's on you. That's on you.
But ultimately, that's life.
That's just life.
I tell you what started it. I tell you what started me just kind of going like, I need to get new friends.
Right.
The SpongeBob SquarePants musical.
SpongeBob SquarePants musical.
I told you about that a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we've yet to watch it.
That's correct.
Because... I don't remember. Holiday time.
Holiday time.
It is wonderful. But here's the thing. Watching that musical, it put a smile on my face. It brought me back to when I was a kid and SpongeBob was good again.
Right.
You know? You know, pre-SpongeBob SquarePants movie. You know, everything after that, it's just, you know, they're just going on momentum. You know? They don't have to try, and they really haven't.
Sure.
A lot.
Sure.
So, it brought me back to the good old days of SpongeBob when the writing was crisp, it was really good. And I remember watching it, and watching the guy playing SpongeBob. He was as bright, as sunny, as positive as could be, as SpongeBob can be.
Right.
You know?
Uh-huh.
He laughed. He said, you know, he would say, today's gonna be the best day ever. Squidward's like, you say that every day. and SpongeBob says, and it's always true.
Right.
And that was the moment I said to myself, I want a friend just like that. Someone who will say, today is the best day ever. And they say that every day.
Right.
And they say, and it's always true. Every day
and of all
is the best day ever.
And between you and all the people you hang out with, if anybody's close to doing that, you're the closest.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And think about that for a second. Think about that.
I understand it completely.
Here's the thing. Listen to me, listeners. I am not the most positive person in the world. I am not SpongeBob. I am sarcastic. I can be bitter if necessary. You know?
Yeah.
I can hold grudges. I am not perfect.
No.
And somehow, I'm the most positive person in my circle of friends.
Yeah.
Which confounds me on a level that I cannot understand. It's basically, it reminds me of, I'm on the autistic spectrum, no lie. In my career center on the final senior project, I as someone who is on who had the disorder formerly known as Asperger's syndrome. I don't know what the fuck it's called now.
Condition.
The condition formerly known as Asperger's. Being on the spectrum means you can't really read a lot of social signals, if any.
If any.
You're not expected or even encouraged to be a great communicator if you're on the spectrum.
Not really.
Not
by the people around you.
Not by the people around you. And yet, for some reason, in the career center of my final senior project, I was the negotiator. I was the only, what's now known as neurodivergent. I was the only neurodivergent person in my project group.
Yeah.
Everybody else was these neurotypical people, ain't got anything wrong with them. They're just a bunch of normal, quote-unquote, normal high school teenagers. And yet, I'm the one talking to the bigwigs. I'm the one talking to the teachers.
They're scared.
I don't know if it's fear. I don't know if it's just incompetency.
I don't think it's incompetency. I think they're scared.
Okay, well,
sure, incompetency always applies for somewhere, but I think the majority of people. And if you're incompetent, you're scared.
Yeah,
I was
the one that was making the presentations. I was the one speaking at the presentations. I was the one talking to the people we were assigned to.
They were more than happy to back up and let you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that always tripped me up. Like, I'm not, quote unquote, society says I'm not the communicator, and yet I'm a better negotiator. I'm a better diplomat than the rest of you.
Right.
This is the same thing.
Well, see, there's certain social interactions that, based on, say, you and I were in negotiation.
Oh, yeah.
There's certain things that if you're wired a certain way that you may go, where the emotion would come in and suppress the logic, where it would say, well, if you say that, you'll hurt their feelings.
Yes.
But the logical person says, you're not trying to hurt their feelings,
yes,
but this logical statement needs to be made.
Yes.
So it may be the fact that they did not have that quote-unquote deficit where they didn't get social cues and that sort of thing that allowed you to speak where someone who's set up in a way that you are told is average and normal can't communicate. So there's obviously there's a bit of an advantage to being wired the way you're wired when it comes to that scenario.
There is an advantage to being a Spock.
There is.
There is an advantage to being that very logical person. This is why Spock is still considered the best science officer.
Can't be Kirk.
No.
Be Spock.
Yeah. Not to get completely off topic, but,
Yeah.
They keep each other in balance.
That's right.
So.
But in doubt,
be
Spock.
Apparently so.
I don't know.
So, I don't know either. So, that's just... Yeah, I know. I just... So, it's not that I don't care for these people, But I know now... thanks to...
Yeah.
Yeah, when I grumble like that, I'm remembering the soap opera I didn't sign up for. Whenever I encounter these situations of, if only I could just reach out my hand and grab their hand and pull them out, well...
Good luck.
Exactly. That's the problem.
Yeah. It'll take them 10 years to see what you're telling them right now.
Exactly.
And I don't know why that is.
I don't know why that is. That's also why I love my job as a personal trainer. Because it is innate to me to want to help people.
Right.
It just is.
It just is.
It just is. I don't know if I'll tell you what. That whole spirit of wanting to help people, I get from the matriarch.
Definitely.
Like, I know I get it from you too, but definitely her. That spirit of giving, that spirit of trying to provide comfort to somebody else.
Right.
But I also understand now that another very big part of me that rivals that part that wants to help people is the fact that I like telling people what to do. And I know I get that from you and or Grandma.
I'm just good at it.
Yeah. She's good at it.
It isn't anything that I sit around and
no. You're not an authoritarian.
I wish I didn't have to tell people.
Yeah. You just make a better charge nurse than a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, to pull an example. So that's why I feel at home with personal training, is because I can help people, be healthy, live a better life, see their great-great-grandchildren, if they so choose,
sure,
live a better life. But they gonna do what I tell them to do in the meantime.
They'll do what I tell them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You pay me to tell you what to do, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I get in these situations where it's like, I want to help you, but I know you're not going to accept the help.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
So, it's not that I don't like these people, not that I've given up per se. I'm just like,
can't wear yourself out.
Yeah.
Trying to help other people that refuse to be helped.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
No, you can't.
And that's basically a philosophy.
You can't fill up a full glass either.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of the philosophy I'm taking.
That's unfortunate. People got their glasses full of too much garbage.
Uh-huh.
So there's nothing else you can put in there until they get rid of some of that. And they have to get rid of it. Okay. You can wear yourself out trying to get them to get rid of it.
But it's not going to. Yeah, it's not going to do you any good.
But it's not going to do you any good.
No. Nope. So that's just the philosophy I'm taking within myself, is I can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So. All right. I want to drink the rest of my hard lemonade in peace now. So.
Yeah. I'm kind of deflated today.
Well, it's after the holidays.
It's after the holidays.
Everybody's deflated.
Yeah.
No, it's no big deal. I mean, I thought about eating ramen, but I'm like, it's too much effort.
You going anywhere tonight?
Hell no. Right. Okay. Nothing big. I don't want anything big. I've had like 2-3 days of just full eating. I'm good.
Yeah.
Shit.
Me too.
All right. You good?
I'm good.
Okay, because like I said, I just want to lay down and drink the rest of this in peace. Like, I love doing the podcast. I'm done. Like, I'm clocking. I clocked out like 3 days ago.
Yeah, me too.
So. All right. Well, that's it, folks. I was your host, Bel-E.
And I was your co-host, the subdued Mr. Scratch.
And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
At some point. Bye.
Get out.